One of the things we found out when they told us that my mom needed a heart transplant was that it wasn't likely she'd get one. You see, just because she needed one didn't mean that there would be a hospital out there that was willing to take a risk. You see, you have to be sick enough to need one, but you also have to be healthy enough to get one. And we found out the complexity of this when almost every hospital in the United States of America turned down my mom as a candidate for a heart transplant. All except one, Cedars-Sinai Hospital in Los Angeles, California. But just because Cedars-Sinai Hospital was willing to give her the chance to do a heart transplant, we still had to wait for the correct heart to become available. You see, you had to have one that fit particular blood types and sizes, and there was a myriad of criteria that you had to meet and that the heart had to meet in order to make a transplant like this successful. And so even in this moment, we weren't sure if my mom would ever get a new heart. And then to add to that complexity, as you're waiting and hoping that a heart would become available, you also had to sit within this reality that somewhere, someone would lose their life in order for her to get one. And so to sit within this tension, it began to feel as if this was a God-forsaken situation. She may never get one, and we're longing and we want it, but how could we long and want for this heart to come knowing that somebody else is going to die? It just felt so difficult to grasp, hold, or understand. And as the journey went along, it became significantly more complicated. In fact, 2 times the doctor came into our family and said, "We think we found a heart, we think we're ready to move along with the procedure," only to find out 30 minutes or an hour later that they decided there was another candidate in the hospital that was better suited for this particular heart. 2 times we almost got that which we were promised, only for it to be taken away, and only to deepen the feelings of God-forsakenness that we were experiencing as we waited and longed for this new heart. You know, it started to feel like we were the God-forsaken ones. It started to feel like my mom was the God-forsaken one. You ever felt that way? Have you ever felt God-forsaken? That you were the one that wasn't seen, heard, loved, or taken care of? Have you ever felt like you were the one that nobody cared about? That you were the one that there was no resources available to provide you with what you need, to provide you with what you've been praying for? To be in a God-forsaken place is incredibly difficult. And so for us, as we continued down this difficult path, more and more we would ask this question: what good could come from this place? Cedars-Sinai began to feel like our Bethlehem. I say that because Bethlehem, much like our season in the hospital, felt like a God-forsaken place. You see, Bethlehem was the backside of nowhere. And also, you consider Jesus and his parents. They came from a place called Nazareth. That was a God-forsaken place as well. In fact, when it comes to the story of Jesus, many people would have said, how could the Messiah, how could the King come from a place like that? How could hope enter into a situation from a God-forsaken place like Bethlehem with people that come from a God-forsaken place like Nazareth? How could hope enter into a God-forsaken situation like what the Hill family was going through at Cedars-Sinai Hospital? And yet, with the degree to which these places were in fact God-forsaken, it was in these exact places that hope entered into the story. You see, my mom did end up getting a new heart, and Jesus himself did enter into humanity, God in human form, as a little boy born in Bethlehem from that place called Nazareth. Hope does in fact enter into God-forsaken places. One of the foundational truths of this entire Advent story is that Jesus meets us in all the places we think are God-forsaken. And this doesn't mean that living in a God-forsaken place is going to be easy or that it's going to make sense. Simply, all this means is that somehow, some way, someday, it very well may be possible for hope to enter into your God-forsaken story. This, my friends, is the hope that we must hold on to during Advent.